Inovação, segurança,
programação,
tecnologia,
desenvolvimento.
começa aqui.
Let's begin.
DevSecOps. O seu podcast de segurança em tecnologia.
Hello everyone, how are you doing? It's a pleasure to start presenting our first episode in English because today we have an international guest. Actually, it's our second international guest because we had in the past someone from Peru, which was Carol actually. We talked about container security, if you could remember. But today we have our first English guest, so that's why our episode is going to be in English. Sorry if you don't understand English, it's a good opportunity to start learning. But today it's the episode number 6 of DevSecOps podcast, which is on our 9 February. I'm Cássio Pereira.
I'm Marcos Santos.
And I, Rodrigo Balbino.
Awesome accent. awesome accent of Rodrigo. Perfect, Rodrigo. Today we're gonna talk about an enterprise solution, special for helping developers to develop more secure code, let's see, or develop securely, if I can talk like that. And for that, we have how can I classify this guest? He's an amazing guy, which has some understanding of Portuguese. I know he knows how to say caipirinha, for example.
Eu falo um pouco.
Yeah, you see. And he will introduce himself now, guys. Welcome, Jonathan. Thank you for your time. Thank you for, be able to join us and to discuss a bit, to help our listeners to understand about an enterprise tool, enterprise solution, also to understand the importance of having secure tools during the development, during the pipeline and everything. So again, welcome and thank you. Please introduce yourself a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Cassio. So I'm Jonathan Davis, and I'm a solutions architect at Veracode. And so really, I help a lot of the salespeople, but on the technical side. So I help give demos of the solution, answer questions about the solution, and I also help in the POC process and things like that. So definitely really excited to talk with Cassio and the team here about how developers can use these tools to write more secure code.
Very good, Marcos. As you can see, he is doing the same job as you are at Nova 8, doing POCs, performing them. How you feel having a good partner today here with us? Marcos,
No. Okay. I'm moving the music, okay? But I'm pretty good in working with you and Rodrigo in Nova 8. The job is good. I like the customers have so many questions. Stupid. Yesterday, the customer making me a question.
Mm-hmm.
Which is better, Sash or Dust?
Good question to start.
No, but is a different tools, not the better one for.
Yeah.
They are different levels.
Complementals. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. So it's not that one tool is better or one type of testing is better. It's that you have different types of testing for different use cases. And so one of the things we do at Veracode is we offer a lot of different testing types. So we have SAST or static analysis to analyze like your first party code. We have SCA to analyze any third party libraries you're pulling in. Because especially today in modern software, a big portion of the application is going to be using these third-party libraries, and we want to make sure that's secure. We also have dynamic analysis testing, and so dynamic analysis testing will help us find vulnerabilities in running web applications. And so if you're just looking at the code, you might not find certain issues that show up at runtime, things like server configuration issues. And so we can find those with dynamic analysis. And then we also have manual penetration testing. And so manual penetration testing is we'll actually have human beings test this application and kind of act like a red team to find vulnerabilities that no automated tool can find, things like business logic issues, for example.
Jonathan, this manual testing, can we call it as pen test? It's something
Yeah.
like this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, manual penetration testing.
Good. I worked with Veracode in 2011 or 12, something like this, in a company in Brazil called Serasa Experian. Really nice group, really big group, and really nice company to work in. And back then, they were using these three options, as you mentioned: SAST for analyzing our source code, DAST as dynamic testing, and also this manual testing when we called some architecture or some guy, let's say some consulting, to help us with this manual test. And I have a question in addition to what Marcos mentioned. How do you approach customers to explain them? Okay, guys, you don't need. It's not about being better or SAST or DAST.
Yeah.
You need to have these levels of protection. How you
Right.
approach them? How you approach the customers?
Right. Well, one of the things we have is we have some helpful information on our website that we can share with customers. And so one of the things that we share is the different types of flaws and which type of testing uncovers which flaw. And so when you're looking at that list, you can see that there are flaws that you can only find with static analysis, and then there are flaws that you can only find with dynamic. And so it makes sense to use multiple types of testing to make sure that you're uncovering everything.
Okay, perfect. Rodrigo, question for you. Let's start using this perfect English.
First of all, I have a warning. My English is a
Speak to
work
English.
in progress, and I like to compare it with Cassio's face. It's a turbo.
Yes, it's a
So
term,
sorry
but it's
about
a work
this.
in progress.
It's a work in progress.
I have a question. I have a question
Okay.
for you. Just a
Okay.
question. Just a moment. How you approach the customers? Because Jonathan said, okay, it's nice to have this. With a tool, you can find some flaws. With another tool, you can find different type of flaws. You use the same speech for customers in Brazil, or you have some addition or some another information like, guys, you don't need this or that. You need both of them.
Yeah, I like to say about more about the process. I want to understand how the process the user continuously, and I see how the gaps in this process, and
Okay.
after all, I see how the gap and I'm just suggesting how to have to
Fill these
use. Yeah,
gaps.
Yep,
Okay.
that makes
Okay.
sense.
yeah.
Perfect. Now you can make your question.
No, I forget
I
the
feel-
my question. I remember. I remember.
Awesome.
What are the biggest challenge in selling security for
The biggest
yeah.
The biggest challenge, I think it's just education in general. Talking to people about the different testing types and why they need them. Because a lot of times, we're working with customers who are just getting started in their security program, and so we want to help educate them and make sure that they understand all the different options available to them, so that they can identify which gaps and which ones are most needed.
It's a good question because, for example, from security perspective, and I am this really security guy, let's say. So when customers ask me what kind of testing I need to have in my pipeline, I say all the kinds, all kind of testing that as you can pay or as you can implement, because we have open source, enterprise, and everything. But of course, it's hard to have this approach because it's SaaS, DAST, SaaS, DAST, SCA, IaaS sometimes, manual pen testing, IaaS. IAC, infrastructure as code, for example, containers, servers. So it's a lot of
It is a lot.
different tests and different tools, and sometimes it's hard to customer decide what to do. So my speech for them is, at least you need to have SCA and SAST, because with both of them you're gonna be 100% covered on testing your code. So everything you produce as software, which is your code, basically, it will be covered. As you mentioned, Jonathan, a lot of modern softwares, they are using a lot of third-party softwares, with libraries and everything. And we have some numbers against this. It's almost 70% of a software is composed by third-party libraries. So only 30% is your own code, let's say. with these two combinations, SAST and SCA, it's a good approach to start doing AppSec, let's say, application security.
Yeah.
Do you agree or have another opinion?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like you said, it's good to just start testing kind of your code, especially if you're thinking about it from a developer, and then you can kind of progress to some of the other types of testing. So I think that makes sense. Another thing that we do to help developers is we allow them to integrate this product. And so they can integrate it, for example, into IDEs that they're using. And so if developers are using IDEs like Visual Studio, Visual Studio Code, IntelliJ, while they're writing code, they can also be performing a security scan of that code. And so that makes it a lot easier for the developers because they don't have to necessarily log into our platform to kick off these scans and see the results. They can do it right as they're working. And it's also going to make their life better because they're going to be finding these issues as they code instead of waiting until the end of a release, right? Because you don't want to be at the end of release on a Friday and then you find out you have 15 high severity issues that you need to fix, right? And so it's better if you can find these things as you go.
I think this kind of integrations is the, I don't know this word in English, but it's state of art in pushing left, because it's
absolutely.
All vulnerabilities in software is about coding. So let's say the vulnerability is born on the time, and you already performed this kind of scan, and you're already blocking this vulnerability even to rise. Let's say I think it's the best approach of pushing left.
Yeah, absolutely. And pushing left can be a gradual process too. So a lot of customers get intimidated, right? Because they're like, okay, you have this product and you have all these different integrations, and so we're going to have to set up everything at once. But you can take a gradual approach. And so sometimes customers will start, and when they start, they're only doing scans in the Veracode platform. And then maybe after that, they'll shift to the kind of the CI/CD. And every time a build happens, like in Jenkins, for example, you're performing scans as well. And then you can do things like fail a job if you find high severity issues. And then after that, you can shift left even further, like you said, to kind of the furthest left you can go, and actually do those scans in the IDE itself, so that developers are catching those issues. And so, one thing that we talk to customers about is that it doesn't have to be something that you do immediately overnight. It can be a process of implementing security.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Rodrigo, you are decided to say something.
Yeah, when you use this approach in shift left, you turn on the lights and the head of dev about the security, and he see it with I don't know how to do this, but
say it in Portuguese.
Você liga a luz do dev para ele sempre ficar pensando em desenvolvimento. Então,
you give a hint for a dev to start thinking about security at first.
Yeah.
Let's say. Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And the developers, they're going to be happiest, when they can see the results in the IDE, but you might not get to that state immediately.
Perfect. It's perfect. Marcos, you have any question in your hands to rise up or not?
In this moment, no. I think.
Perfect. Marcos he just wake up. He still need to.
No. It's not a problem.
And another thing too, since we're talking about how to help developers, up to this point we've talked about the different types of testing you can do, right? We talked about SAST, SCA, DAST, but then the other side of the equation is like, how can we help educate developers so they're writing more secure code, right? Because that's going to make your life easier. Because if all you're doing is testing for flaws and then fixing them, you're kind of playing a game of whack-a-mole. I don't know if you're, yeah, okay. So you want to make sure that you're actually introducing less flaws to begin with. And so that's where secure code training comes into play. And one of the neat things about what we do for secure code training at Veracode is that we don't just rely on videos. And so, a lot of vendors will just show the developer a video and then give them a quiz at the end. But that's not really helping the knowledge stick. And so we actually have interactive training. And so, let's say you're learning about SQL injection, for example. We have these security labs, which are hands-on. And so you can go into a course on SQL injection. We'll actually spin up a web application for you that has SQL injection flaws. And so then you would get experience, first of all, practicing hacking those flaws. So you'd actually be able to hack a live web app. And then we actually give you the code for that web application. So you can go in and rewrite those SQL queries so that it's no longer vulnerable to SQL injection. And so the developers get hands-on experience exploiting and fixing these things. And so that's definitely also helps companies to integrate security, because as the developers become more knowledgeable about secure code, it's going to be a lot easier for you to fix flaws in the future, and you're going to have less flaws to fix.
Oh, it's
I
good,
think
good.
I
No,
think
no,
this is okay. Okay, go on, go on.
no, go.
Oh my god.
I ask after.
Yeah, I think this is the how to say main point in all software security, because when we talk about this testing and
Mm-hmm.
SAST and DAST and penetration testing, all kind of security test is about to find problems, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how to say, that's a step on your process that you must have. You need to
Exactly.
find for problems all the time, but you need to stop creating problems.
Exactly.
You need to stop creating bugs and vulnerabilities, and that's, as you said, this kind of tool comes up because if you don't come to the developer, my dev guy, here's a SQL injection or cross-site scripting or whatever, heap inspection or whatever, and you need to fix this way. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he will fix, but tomorrow he will produce new vulnerability.
Exactly.
If he don't understand how to stop building code like that, as I call as defensive programming, it's kind of exactly like this. You need to stop creating vulnerabilities, and for this kind of tools as security labs, as Jonathan mentioned, it's the best approach to help the developer. Of course, we have another tools and another approach to help other kind of people in this process, as
Mm-hmm.
system analysis or architects or
Mm-hmm.
even DevOps guys or even business guys, and the end users. But for the developer, I think is the best way to educate.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, here's how you stop coding shit, as Rodrigo was doing in the past.
We talk about this in every episode. This culture is keyword. This
Keyword.
culture,
Yeah.
keyword.
Exactly. Yeah, and
Yeah,
another thing
yeah.
too is that when we talk about helping the developer, we also have services in place. And so one of the questions that some developers might have is, well, why should I even go with a tool like Veracode if there are free tools available? And there are a lot of reasons, but one of the benefits is all the services and support that you get. So we actually have a team of people. They're called the application security consultants. And they were developers in the past, so they have a lot of development knowledge and experience, but they also have a lot of security knowledge. And developers and security team members can actually book a call with one of these AppSec consultants to ask them questions about the vulnerabilities that they found and how to fix them. So you can actually ask your questions to a live expert who can help resolve any doubts that you're having and help guide you in the best ways to fix these issues. And so you do get a lot of services and support in addition to the tools that we're giving you.
This was supposed to be my next question, and it still will be. But no, there's a comment on this. When it comes to SaaS solution, for example, when we talk about new companies, startups, and new business, they have a lot of different languages. I have
Mhm.
customers that they have Go, C#, Java, JavaScript, Python, and some guys even using Clojure. Okay, so it's seven different languages. And when we're talking about one specific language, maybe open source will help you. But on these enterprise companies, they have a lot of different languages, and that's why you need enterprise solution to have this kind of support. Otherwise, you're gonna have 6 different tools just for doing SaaS for each
Exactly.
language you are coding. So it doesn't make sense. But maybe it's a trick question, Jonathan. I'm sorry. But when it comes to SCA, and I know enterprise solutions, I know also open source solutions. What is exactly the difference between open source and enterprise? Because SCA, you just go to CVE database and get if there is there. Something like
I'm glad
this.
you asked me this question. Okay. So actually, we have a different approach to SCA. So we do use the National Vulnerability Database as a starting point. But the limitation of using just the National Vulnerability Database is that it's a claims-based organization. And so what that means is that somebody, like a software developer, has to actually submit a flaw or a vulnerability to the National Vulnerability Database. Then it goes into their backlog, and then they'll eventually publish it. But what we do is, first of all, we do a lot of our own research. And so we're using like machine learning and AI to monitor popular third-party repos on places like GitHub in order to find issues as they're raised before they're even reported to the National Vulnerability Database. And then we also have a team of researchers who can dig deeper as well in kind of a manual way. And so we have a lot of our own research that we've done. And as a result, kind of the total surface area of vulnerabilities that we can find in SCA is going to be about 2.5 times the size of a vendor that is just relying on the National Vulnerability Database.
Perfect. Now makes sense why you pay for SCA if you have free solutions which can do something like the same, but not.
Exactly.
For example, in case of last biggest case was Log4j problem, and maybe these enterprise solutions on the same day they were already aware of this and publish and doing scans, and maybe some open source could take 1 day more. Let's say if it 1 day more or even more. And this, from the security perspective, is being vulnerable, being exposed. 1 day, 1 hour more can cost your company's life. Let's say it's big risk to take, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and in fact, there was another issue too, and it wasn't as big as the Log4j issue, but there was an issue with, I think, the UA parser JavaScript library, which is a really popular library that a lot of big companies are using. And so what happened was actually an attacker compromised the account of the npm account of the developer who develops this library, which is downloaded millions of times. And this attacker was able to inject malicious code, so that every time you download it, you're downloading this malicious code issue. And so almost as soon as that issue was raised, we were able to update our database and notify all of our customers about this problem. And so that's one of the benefits that you're getting, as you mentioned, is just the speed of updates that we can provide about vulnerable third-party libraries.
Perfect. Marcos, you are shy today. What's the problem? It's because of the English.
No, it's not a problem. But I have a question, but you cut me some minutes ago.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But
I'm
I have
excited.
a new question.
Okay.
What's the biggest challenger you find in the customers, Jonathan?
Yeah, I think
Is
that
implement CICD? Is integrations, education? What's the biggest challenge?
Yeah, I think that it's a couple things. Education, as you mentioned, making sure that they know about all the different testing types available to them, and why they should use different testing types. And then the implementation can also be a challenge. And so that's why we recommend doing the implementation in phases. And so one of the things we really like to emphasize to customers is you don't have to do everything at once. You can take a crawl, walk, and run approach. And so in the beginning, maybe all you do is you just upload your code into the Veracode platform, once every week, and you scan it, right? And then after that, maybe you move over to Jenkins. And so that every time a Jenkins build happens, you're scanning code there. But maybe you don't even fail that build immediately if you find issues, because then the developers are going to get angry, right? Because you're blocking their code from going. Cassio understands, he was a developer, and so so maybe you wait until the developers get used to having these code scans before you'll fail a build if you find any high severity issues. And then after that, maybe you shift into the IDE so that developers can see these issues as they're coding. But it's a gradual process.
Use the drug dealer approach,
We're selling good things, though.
DevSecOps.
Perfect comment, Rodrigo. Drug dealer. You give a bit, then you start pricing it.
Oh my god. So good.
Okay, question answered, Marcos. Are you happy now?
Yes, I'm happy.
Good. Rodrigo, any questions to rise? I have a lot, you know.
No, I don't have.
Okay, one more question, Jonathan. When you were talking about SAS for
Hmm.
SAST, static analysis,
Hmm.
how Veracode approaches it's a software as a service solution or it's on-premise solution.
Yeah,
If it's both, what customers prefer? It's
yeah,
SaaS, cloud, or how it is?
yeah. I'm glad you asked this question. So we're 100% cloud solution. So 100% SaaS. And that gives us some benefits. And so one benefit is that you don't have to worry about scalability. And so if you're using an on-premise solution and you have a lot of applications that you want to scan, you have to make sure that you have enough virtual machines and resources and infrastructure to support all the scans that you want to do. But because we're a cloud solution um, built on top of AWS, you don't have to worry about these kinds of issues, and we'll scale with you as you're scanning more applications. Another benefit that we get by being a SaaS solution is we have all of this knowledge, which customers have shared with us by using the platform for over 15 years now. And so whenever customers fix an issue or whenever they mark it, as a false positive, that's data that our team is able to use to make the tools smarter. And so over time, our tools have gotten smarter. We've really cut down the number of false positives. We have that false positive rate is only around 1% now across all the different applications that we're scanning. And so there are definitely a lot of benefits to being a cloud provider.
This is a good point, good topic
Mhm.
because I've tested some other solutions in the past, and the percentage of false positives in C++, for example, was
Hmm.
30%.
Wow.
But of
It's
course,
very
other
high.
languages like Java or C Sharp was 1%, 2%, which is really good. But anyway, for C and C++, 30% is really much. And if you start, let's say we get a company to start security and they start doing scans and they start having 30% of their
Right.
scans has fucking false positives. The
Right.
developers, okay, you give me problem to fix, but it's not a problem. You give another
Right.
problem, it's not a
Exactly.
problem. This is even worse for, as Rodrigo was mentioned before, to focus on process and gaps. And this is even worse because developers, they are untouchable. Don't touch
Yeah.
me, let me program. They are these superhero guys, and they are not
Yeah.
actually, because they are building the vulnerabilities. Developers, if
Yeah.
you are listening to me, you are building the vulnerabilities. It's your fault, okay? It's not ours. Anyway, it's this approach is not good for the process or for the culture mindset, but how to say, as you said, it need to be step by step, first
Yeah.
step first, to have this culture implemented.
Exactly. Yeah. And like you said, it's so important to have that trust with the development team, right?
Yeah.
Because security and development need to be able to work together. And so that's one of the things that we want to do is we want to break down that barrier. And one of the ways you break that barrier is, as you mentioned, having a low false positive rate, right? So developers realize, oh, when the security guys give me an issue, it's a real issue, right? And I actually need to, it's actually something I need to fix, and they're not just going to send me on kind of a wild goose chase.
Yeah, and in addition, guys, talking to about this, I'm trying to get a new guest here for next episodes to talk about a dynamic solution which use AI and artificial intelligence and everything to rise new vulnerabilities with zero false positives. Let's see if you can have this talk with these guys from Israel. Let's see if they are coming up or not. If not, that's fine. If yes, that's fine. The same, nothing changing in our lives. Let's move on. Rodrigo, you have something new to talk or something?
Now I'm
No,
using 100% my brain to understand the
To
conversation,
understand
so I
English?
don't have time.
no,
I
but
don't have time to
I,
think about
I
the
have a
question.
question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
But I have a question to make. In about um, the solution is on premise or SEA.
Hmm.
Um, uh, is there any difference in the solution on premise on in a cloud service
Oh,
in terms of functionalities? You
Functionalities,
have,
okay.
yeah, you have more false positive one or other. You
yeah.
have functions in cloud, don't have in on premise. We
Yeah,
have
so we're 100% cloud,
Mm.
and so every scan that a customer does with us, they'll be doing within Veracode's cloud.
So there is no difference because you don't have
yeah,
on-premise.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, okay.
If,
I have
if you haven't listened the guest, you don't have this question.
you don't make this question.
Oh my god.
No, no, it's fine. It's fine. I understand.
It's it's fine. It's fine because our listeners is gonna start improving English, start to listen also in
Yeah.
English when you're talking. And the most important, guys, it's not about to being native or have 100% clear English. It's about communication. We can communicate. We can understand each other. Even the guys who can speak good, but they can understand, and that is all about. And when we talk about even security or developing or anything, and it's big approach in Brazil that people need to start learning English. You are already programming in English. There is no Portuguese programming language. You are already using English. You are already using every day. You already play video games. So why not talk? Why not listen? Why not to improve or even produce content and everything? So we want also to encourage people, our listeners, our community, to pursue English because it's not that hard. You know, we have contact with English since we were born on video games and everything, so it's not that hard. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I'll keep improving my Portuguese, and maybe in
Yeah.
6 months we can do this again in Portuguese.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm.
and using this moment, can you have some communication problems with the Brazilian guys? Because our English is terrible. And the potato
No,
English.
no. I've been able to, I think, get all my points across and understand everybody here as well. So
Yes.
Oh,
And for this episode, we're gonna test this first transcription. So maybe we're gonna
yeah,
have all these lyrics, how to say,
yeah.
transcripted in English, so you can copy and paste and translate in Google, so you understand anyway. It's not a reason to not listen to this episode. But anyway, you have how many? 70 episodes on first and second season. So you have a lot of episodes in Portuguese with Marco's jokes and everything. So you can come back there and listen to all of them. Rodrigo, you were moving. You want to say something?
No, I'm just listening. I'm just listening. Sorry.
I'm using my brain to translate. So don't bother me.
Yeah.
That's good.
No, I have a new question for Jonathan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have some, how to say, conflict, not you, I mean, in process, some conflicts between developers and security when you raise some vulnerabilities for them and they, no, it's false positive. Oh, it's not a problem. Oh, this is actually, it is a vulnerability, but I have firewall, I have web application firewall, I have something and something and something to protect me, but because they don't want to fix this, they want to avoid more job. That's the thing. We have these problems in Brazil. A lot of guys does this, and we
Yeah.
say, okay, guys, you need to fix this, because if a hacker comes over your web application firewall, comes over your network, over your all over your other controls, it will come to your application. So you need to fix this anyway. You have this kind of conflict.
Yeah, we do, and we have a couple different ways to kind of help customers. And so one of the things that we do is that we give the customers a choice. And so when we report flaws in the platform, we expect you to fix the code, but you have the option to mark it as mitigated in the platform. And so for exactly the reasons you mentioned, I could mark it as mitigated because I have a firewall or because of some other control that I have in place, which I believe would prevent that from being exploited. And somebody on the team who has a mitigation approver role can then accept or reject that request. And so, as a security person, maybe as a developer, I can potentially go in, I can mark it as mitigated, I can leave a note explaining why I don't think we should have to fix it, and then the person who's in charge of that program could choose to accept that. And so that's one solution. And then the other thing kind of goes back to the AppSec consultants. And so the good thing is that you have these services, people like the application security consultants, who can speak the same language as the developers. And so if the developers are doubting, the security people, they can bring in an AppSec consultant who can explain in a lot more technical detail why this flaw is truly going to be exploitable, why it's an issue they should fix in code. And so you have some options. You can fix things in the platform, or you can consult with experts if you want to go deeper with the developer.
Good. Very good. This is very good, actually. Okay, Marcos, give us some messages. You can do it in Portuguese because you didn't record it yet, so that's fine.
Ok. Pessoal, vamos lá. Para quem estiver escutando a gente na plataforma de áudio, por favor, compartilhe com o amiguinho. Você está ajudando bastante aqui a gente. Vai estar disseminando essa cultura. Hoje em inglês, ó que legal. Quem estiver no YouTube, deixa um comentário. Clica no botão de like aí para ajudar a espalhar mais ainda. Compartilhe também com o amiguinho. Vai lá no seu Discord. Vai lá, loga no seu Discord bonitinho. Entra no canal lá, DevSecOps Podcast. E no Telegram, no canal do Cássio, por favor. Ele tá sempre divulgando informações bem úteis e tá sempre colocando ali quando vai sair episódio, tá saindo teaser novo. Ele coloca informações diversas ali que é bem importante. Vai alegrar bastante nossos amiguinhos.
You see, Jonathan understands everything in Portuguese. if someone is listening us and don't understand Portuguese, that's fine. We are asking for likes and money, so you can send us money as a donation because we need to rise this podcast over the world. So
Like,
you can help us anyway. Like, share, and money. That's actually it's followers. I learned that in life it's all about followers. I want followers. That's it. Follow me, guys. Follow me and I will be happy.
Follow Cássio.
Yeah, you're 100% right, because that follower is a repeat viewer, right?
Yes, because do you remember I don't know if you watched Black Mirror, but there is this episode of they don't have money. It's just about stars, 5 stars, 3 stars, or something.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
It's all about this. So I need to be 5 stars, and that's it, guys. Like and share and everything, and you'll be fine. Jonathan, do you have any? How can you talk about more of integrations? It's just about CI/CD, as you said, IDEs, or you have some other kind of APIs or Jira to help with vulnerability management. How is these integrations?
A great question. So, like you mentioned, we do have an API. And so in addition to the integrations that we have with CI/CD tools and IDEs, you can call our API directly. Also, as you mentioned, we have an integration with ticketing systems like Jira, as well as Azure DevOps issues. And so you can, for example, with our Jira plugin, you can pull in issues from Veracode into your Jira, and then you can assign those issues to different developers and team members there. And so we do try to have a lot of integrations so that this tool will fit with a lot of the other things that you already have as part of your process.
That's great. I think last Friday, I raised a video on YouTube talking about next-gen security. And I was talking about something about, imagine you could automate your mitigations. Like you run a SAST scan and you found, SQL injections. But you're going to take 1 month to fix this. But you need to release tomorrow into production. So imagine if you could take these vulnerabilities and automatically write some rule in your web application firewall, or even write any rule on your API gateway, some kind of automation mitigations based on these vulnerabilities findings from SAS, from SCA, whatever, in order to anticipate this fixing, because it can take longer time. But I was talking about kind of next-gen security, as I called, but it's all about APIs. If some tools don't offer APIs, you won't be able to do this, or you're going to have to run. Rodrigo is going to remember this because we work together in a company. We were using AutoEat. Remember this fucking robot, AutoEat? It was clicking on your screen and everything. It can do everything, but it's terrible to program on this. And if you have APIs, it's much easier doing Python or something, right, Rodrigo?
Include this robot saved about 10 million of year for the
year of this company.
Interesting.
Because just to clarify, this robot was open in a spreadsheet and take some values and go into some websites to input these values and click in a button, because this website didn't provide APIs. So this process was to refound. It was a refound process. All
Hmm.
this spreadsheet was refound for the company. So only these robots, as Rodrigo mentioned, was saving for the actually was getting back for the company 10 million reais annually. So just to have an idea how automation has power in our life today, and when we
Yeah,
talk
absolutely.
about automation and everything, it's the key to have an API. And why I'm talking about this deeply, because a lot, actually most of the open source tools, they don't have APIs. They can do good jobs, they can do good scans and everything, as OWASP has a lot of really good projects and so on, but some don't offer APIs. So maybe you have a maturity level of security that you need to do something extra, and without
Exactly.
APIs, you are not able to do.
Yeah, 100% agree. Automation, as you mentioned, is really important, and helps save time and money. And so that's also one of the reasons why we have so many different ways to automate the tool.
Yeah, awesome. Go, Rodrigo. You are muting and
Uh,
unmuting.
uh, talk. Okay. Talking about the maturity level. Do you have some approach to follow your customer to increase the maturity level in
Yeah,
AppSec?
so
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So another thing that we have is we have analytics. And we have a lot of different analytics to help the customer understand, kind of where they are in application security, right? It's like any other goal you'd set, right? Like, so if you set a goal that, this year you want to become, more fit, right? Well, then you're going to record what you're eating. You're going to record, how many calories, how many miles you're walking or running. And it's important to record these things and also your progress in fitness, right? So that you can make sure that you're actually moving towards the goal. And it's the same thing with application security. You want to have a lot of analytics in place so that you can make sure that you're actually making progress. And so we give you the ability to see the big picture. Of course, we give you reports for the apps that you scan, right? So if you scan an application, we'll tell you this application has vulnerabilities, but we'll also give you the bigger picture. So you can see, for example, out of all the applications I've scanned, 70% of them are in compliance and 30% are out of compliance with the policies that I've set. And over the whole history of our application security program, this is how many issues that we have which are not fixed. This is how many we fixed. This is how many days it takes us to fix an issue. And here's how all of that data is changing over time. And so, as you mentioned, Rodrigo, we want to make sure that we give all of that information and all of those analytics to the customer so that they can see how their program is maturing.
Now I am
Okay.
sure. Now I am sure I am Steve Jobs of application security, because two or three episodes
Okay.
back we talked about application security KPIs, and comes Jonathan with this
Yeah.
information. So I'm Steve Jobs of application security. I'm sure I'm gonna be rich with this.
No, I have an important question to make to
Hmm.
Jonathan. What's the biggest difference in use SaaS in Brazil and SCA? The maturity level, when Rodrigo says, is
Yeah.
more is best in USA, is higher than Brazil. What's the difference?
Yeah. So I can't speak too much to like how different regions are using, these different tools. Probably somebody on our channel team could better answer that question. But I would say, kind of back to Cassio's earlier point, that I think it's important to have SAST and SEA in place, because Cassio, I think you gave that statistic, 70% of an application is open source, right? Or we're pulling our third-party libraries. And so if you're just scanning your first-party code, then you're leaving 70%, right, of your application unscanned. And so I think it's really important to use both. We make it easy for you to use both. And so when you do a static scan, we're automatically going to do an SEA scan if you provide us with your dependency manager file. So for example, if you're using Node.js, if you provide us that packagelock.json file along with the Node.js code you want us to scan, we'll do static analysis and SEA at the same time for you.
And in addition to this question of Marcus, actually trying to give some answer, here in Europe we are more proactive. Brazil is still reactive. So we still wait for vulnerability, we still wait for something to happen to make investments and everything. I think it's in the US is kind of like Europe, kind of proactive, and companies, they have more regulations, more something about this. So maybe they are pushed to do something, not to wait to the problems, but to approach the problems before they happen, you know. Okay, guys, we are on the time. So I want to say thank you to Jonathan for joining us. Before saying goodbye, Marcos, I need to ask you permission because Rodrigo today has a joke for us on our episode.
Okay.
He was working 1 month on this English joke. So let's see what comes up. Every episode, Jonathan, we have a joke, you know, kind of joke to see if you understand. But let's see what Rodrigo's bring us today.
This joke is for Jonathan, okay?
Okay.
What does a baby computer call his father?
Oh, what?
How?
Data.
Oh my god.
It's actually pretty good.
Joke is Marcos.
Meu Deus do céu.
I have to
like
say,
it.
every day this podcast is growing and growing. Now we have even international jokes, you see, and the guests laugh on this, so it worked.
That's funny.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Okay, guys, Jonathan, thank you again. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so
bringing
much.
knowledge. Thank you about talking about Veracode. I know a lot of companies in Brazil they are using, and we are. I'm an enterprise guy. How to say so? I push companies to come to this enterprise approach, not only open source. I think open source is first level. We need to go to second level and third level and automation and everything. So thank you for come up with all ideas and all clarifying, okay?
Yeah, thank you guys. And Rodrigo, Marcos, muito prazer. Muito prazer.
Perfect.
Oh, muito prazer.
Perfect. So this is the episode number 6 of 3rd season, and I'm Cássio Pereira.
I'm Marcos Santos.
Rodrigo Balbino. And
Jonathan Davis.
Oh,
perfect, guys. So see you next week on next episode. Bye bye.
bye bye.
Termina aqui. DevSecOps. DevSecOps. O seu podcast de segurança em tecnologia.